Hi, this is Michelle and buckle up for a exciting episode from Inside Out, the one and only podcast made to help you optimise food nourishment to improve your overall health and lifestyle. This week will be one of two parts, talking about my journey and how I got from where I am today and my passion for nutrition, helping others and the evolution of Inside Out. Being born in 1978 was a smack bang in the era of convenience processed foods. It was the in thing to do was diet and enter the misery of the yo-yo diet culture. My mum used to brag how she worked for Heinz Food and can get cheap baby food to feed me, and she thought this was a revelation. Growing up, all I saw was my family eating huge meals full of cakes, pies, fried stuff, alcohol, and finish off with bread, butter, jam as supper. And then obviously the following day they go, I have to go on a diet. I would see many influential women figures increasing in size, losing weight and looking great, then increasing in size again. For me, growing up, I just thought this was a way of life. So I entered, for many years, numerous amounts of diets. As evolution continued, no one seemed to be cooking with fresh food anymore, and convenience packets came more into play. I do remember when I was a child, my nan used to cook a roast dinner from scratch, but would overboil all the vegetables. They had no substance to it whatsoever. I did wonder what happened to the days of greenhouses and growing tomatoes and vegetables. You know, like back in the war, people used to grow fruit and veg. But that seemed to just disappear. Over time though, as convenience food came into play into our household, I found that my body was experiencing very much severe digestion. I lacked energy. I experienced bloating and sometimes diarrhea. And I can remember one day that I went out with my husband and he took me to Chinese. And I didn't want to say I don't like Chinese. And I ate the Chinese, and then within seconds, my whole face and my body just came over grey, and I threw up everything. I thought this was normal. How the heck do you think that's normal? I don't know. So no matter what I tried, I put on weight. Society bullied me for being fat and not fitting in with the slim models that everyone should be. The more and more I tried, the more and more I just became depressed. And this was roughly in my 20s. I became withdrawn. I tried laxatives. It was just horrendous. You know, coupled with coming from an abusive childhood, I just wanted to be anyone but who I was. Didn't love myself. No one loved me. And I just felt this was it. This is what my rest of my life is going to be like. And then I think it was probably around the age of 24, I just thought I've had enough. I woke up and I decided I need to work this out. I need to find something better in my life. I need to get my body where it nutrition needs to be well. And I need to be able to change my life. I need to be able to enjoy life more. And deep down inside me, I thought that must be the key to finding love, happiness, family and success. So I went on an absolute quest of my well-being became my priority. I started off with small changes. First off with some sort of movement. So I used to go walking at a fast pace. I started doing toning videos, which don't laugh. I was in the era of still having VHS tapes that go in. I always spend more time out in the fresh air. I always loved the mornings. If you haven't read my recent blog post, if you're a morning or night person, please do. I started how to learn to cook properly from scratch, so breakfast, lunch and dinner. And by this time the internet was becoming into play, so I would spend afternoons and weekends in the library reading books, recipe books, trying to research stuff on the internet, but still to this day I'm quite old-fashioned. I do love going to the library and just sitting there reading books about nutrition, about recipes, about how different cultures use different methods for cooking and the benefits for doing it. I equally then joined a gym and making new friends. It seemed to be that I fitted into the gym. People understood me. And around this time of getting into wellbeing, I decided, I'm just going to quit my job and do my degree in physio. So I studied and worked both at the same time, and through the part-time job met my future husband, which was really odd because Andrew loved walking and climbing, theatre, reading. As time went on, we did more and more walks, climbs and runs together. Eventually, we married in 2008 and started and wanted to start a family. So we embarked on our next journey. However, I experienced difficulty conceiving, and this focused me even more on ensuring that my mind, body and soul needed to be at its optimum. As well as looking at my nutrition, I did then holistically look at what other therapies could help with conceiving a child. And I did a course for a year of reflexology, which really helped. Reflexology is sort of an ancient therapy, but coupled with that nutrition, it brought me into balance and it allowed me to have success, and we eventually had our family. But like with many of us nowadays, I did not have the luxury of not working. So all of a sudden, I had 2 small children, because there's 18 and a half months between the 2 of my own boys. I was a working mum. At that time, I was into running, and I was doing it for my mental health, and I had this image. I still did not want to be a mum like my mum, who never ran, swam or played in the park with me. I fully wanted to be there for my children and to be fit for them. I wanted to achieve my goals. I had to be organised, plan our meals, which, by the way, when you plan your meals, does save you money and waste, and ensure that we were all using the old school methods of proper home cooked food. Through being nutritionally well, it meant I had energy, I had a better work-life balance with both my children. Being more medically challenged, they were nourished to thrive. When I said medically challenged, both were premature, both were at one was £3.7, the other one was just under £5. So once I had them, I was on a quest of being able to feed them, nourish them, get them up to the weight that they needed to be. As we are a family that enjoy the outdoors, we camped a lot. Camping is great because it is an opportunity for you to switch off your social media, to actually really connect with nature and to connect as a family together. Over time, I have camped under the stars, and we now have a massive great tent that we have bedrooms, luxuries of camp carpet, they sell that now, and a cooking system and a refrigerator. And just because you camp, it doesn't mean that you can't cook on a stove. And I used to picture on social media about the foods that we used to cook: spag bowl, turkey enchiladas. And eventually, after many of my friends commented how amazing it looked, I wrote a book with recipes and ideas for any self-cation holiday, and self-published on Amazon. You probably have guessed that I'm a social media queen beginner, and I put beginner in big bold letters. I'm not great at social media, but I'm learning, and we all have to start somewhere. My friends enjoyed my food. I love cooking for groups. I love food and meal times, because I really find that meal times is a time to connect, to celebrate the successes of your day, perhaps talk through and chat through what hasn't worked well for that day. And equally, when I cook, bakes and cakes and stuff for schools, you're actually involving yourself as part of the community. By cooking, and even throughout the pandemic, just by doing little afternoon teas and packages for friends and delivering them to the door, I just felt I was alive and supporting others, and my eyes, my belly, my inner well-being just seemed to light up. I felt like I had a purpose. So as time has passed and many years have passed, I started to learn more about food, ingredients, the impacts of the industry is currently having on ingredients, the use of pesticides to import food to the UK. I learned that actually, because flour is quite processed when making my own pizza bases, because I have a gluten intolerance, you need to knead it for 10 minutes rather than 5 minutes just to break down the gluten within processed flour. What I tended to find is that when we went abroad, I loved it. I never had any issues with food abroad. I could go and eat pizza, pasta, and not have to worry about it being gluten-free or anything else. As soon as we've come back to the UK, I've had experienced stomach issues, and to this day, I'm still working through them. I've continued to learn, and I will never ever stop my passion and purpose of being nutritionally well. I've got more into the running community world, and Andrew has got more into triathlons. And this is where the question of how do you fuel properly before, during and after events came really into play, particularly for me being a mum, because I can remember the number of times I would be running a half marathon, a marathon, you cross the finish line, the children are there, they're cheering you on, and then pounce on you and say, we're hungry. And you look over and you go, have you actually fed them? And then your husband's going, yeah, I've fed them, but they're grown children and they love their food. So when you're a working mum and you're doing events, you just don't have time to go, do you know something, I've just run an ultra, I've just run a marathon, I'm going to lie down here and sleep, okay? You have to be able to refuel quickly, shower, and then get back into whatever else, being present for your child, going out for dinner or making dinner or ensuring the packed lunches are done, the ironing's done, ready for the Monday morning, because 9 times out of 10 a race will be on a Sunday. And then, inevitably, I'll be back in on Monday morning working in the corporate world, which I currently still do, and I've been doing for too many years, that the question about how do you fuel before, during and after an event really, really has started to come into play. And the type of events you do depends on how you fuel. So you can eat real fuel, like food, like energy balls, Marmite sandwiches doing a marathon, but you won't get as speed and pace. You can use gels, if you want speed and pace in marathons. We also worked out for our family that actually having pasta the night before and a race didn't work for us. So we'd have to have pasta on a Friday and then a high protein meal on a Saturday. So all of this we've been working through, myself and Andrew, for many, many years. And it has been trial and error, but we have made some great learnings, and this is now my passion, and probably has led me to where I am today. Being part of a local running group, many of the female runners have approached me and asked for support. Again, working mums, they're running, they want to achieve a particular pace on a race, and we just sit down and we connect and we talk. we look at what they're having, and I just sit there and I say, well, have you thought about upping your protein? Protein is key. Protein is key for muscle synthesis. It gives you energy. Have you thought, well, actually, you're training late at night, so fuel a bit earlier on in the day and have a lighter meal. And the feedback that I've got has been phenomenal. And so I think where I am today and how I've got there, and in the next episode I will reveal how Inside Out started and how I wish to make my vision a reality and expand to helping millions around the world. But the changes that I made started small, and success does come from inside out. You take your baby steps, you take your passion, you take your purpose, and you take your vision. And my vision is to take my learnings, working holistically with partners, to ensure that people can achieve from inside out and from a holistic approach anything they want to achieve in life. I will look forward for you joining me in the next episode, where I will talk briefly more about how Inside Out became part of my vision and how I want it to grow, and how I wish you as a community listening support me in feeding back, sharing your ideas, asking questions that I can help and support trying to find the answers. So thank you. As always, it has been absolutely fantastic speaking to you, and look forward to seeing you in the next episode.